all your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Fantasy football season is fast approaching, and if you're looking for an edge this season, you need to contact the guys at Draft Day Consultants. The concept is a simple one. Draft Day Consultants takes your requests and connects you with one of their trusted analysts, who then guide you through your draft. Whether you just need a sounding board on decisions, or if you need them to conduct your entire draft, Draft Day Consultants has you covered. Every one of their consultants has a proven track record of success and have conducted hundreds, even thousands of mock drafts. Thanks to this year-round research and analysis, the guys at DDC have an unmatched understanding of player values. So gain an edge on your league mates this season by hitting up draftdayconsultants.com. That's www.draftdayconsultants.com. Now get after it, fantasy footballers.
Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh. Family Grind ENT. Believe in it. Get it. To the Bossman Show with John Beckler here on the Bossman Radio Network. We have a great show for you today, but we have one of our favorite guests on the line with us, top of the show, the coach of the East Carolina Pirates. Coach, you heard on the show twice last year. Great interviews with him. His team is a great team. We love to watch, cover the bowl game. We're joined by Coach Ruff himself, Coach Ruffin McNeill on the Bossman Show. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Boss man, JR, thanks for having me on again, brother. I appreciate you. And last year, our sessions and then the bowl game sessions, seeing you down there. I thank for all you do down there for the Atlanta area, and thanks for letting me put East Carolina and the great folks of Greenville and the great Pirates alum on your channel, on your station.
And Coach, I'll tell you what, it was great to see you guys in Birmingham. I tell you what, I enjoyed standing down in the sidelines, watching you all, watching how your players interacted, how you guys fought. And fought. And in truth be told, Coach, you know, I've been on the sign. I said, turnover here and there, you guys would have won that game against Florida. But the good thing about it, Coach, is you play Florida this year. You can get retribution. I know it can't be the bowl game win, but you have to play those guys one more time and prove once again the Pirates can beat the SEC and beat the Gators, Coach.
Well, I tell you, it was a great game, and they got a great team and great talent at Florida, great tradition, and Mac's going to do a great job down there. That's a place that's got, so many wins and Heisman trophies and national championships. But the Perimeter Bowl game, I was proud of our effort. You never get, more victories, but that was a team that, our team last year, JR, was a team of, like we talked about, family and team first, last, and always a group of guys that sacrifice themselves for the team, which is what it's about. No egos allowed here. You know that we're not talking about it. And it's not about personal things, is about us and team. And that team really set the mold for our program. It was our 5th year here at East Carolina. We built it brick by brick. JR, we didn't skip steps, and I'll talk about that again before the audience and we got, first of all, great kids. We want to make sure those kids get in here and get good kids that fit us, that fit East Carolina and the environment. Being a Pirate, it's great to make that. Then, of course, get kids who are interested in graduating. JR, 11 of those guys that graduated before that bowl game, and 8 this year so far. And then have some kids that love to compete and challenge. And that game they fired that, and I felt so bad for them, but at the same time, they had nothing to hang their head about. Thank you for it, JR.
Welcome, Coach. Very, very welcome.
And Coach, just to spin off of your response here, and when the team loses, it's tough. And, there is something to be said, though, about how that's handled. And you touched on it there. You have to be able to lose with aplomb and lose and take something away from it. There's always something to be learned, always something to take away from a loss, just like there is a win. And I'm curious to know, is this something that you try to instill into your players? Obviously you don't want to, talk about losing too much, but you do have to breach it, I would think. Is it not a topic you have to discuss?
Yeah, you do. We do it in a couple of manners. And before that, failure is only failure if you accept and don't learn from it. So I learned a long time ago, 36 years doing this. Accept it is one thing we don't do, but learning from it we do. We talk about making sure we do the best we can each play. It goes back to the beginning, fact, really when we begin the program, but each year, each team hears it. It's about day-to-day process. And within that day, making sure we have champ reps and champ days. No human nature reps are welcome. And the kids understand that one of our best games by our last game. And you always say it, but because we make that a part of our mantra and one of our main things, and we know we believe in it, to make sure we do our very, very best. Each time. It sounds simple, but we got kids that they could not have given another inch of effort. That's one thing that we talk about philosophy-wise is nobody's going to play harder than we are. And we talk about physicality and those things, but looking team-wise, those kids understood that they did their best. Oh, it was tough, but you got to learn how to address it. You got to make sure you give them other ideas. One thing that we as a coach, and I know you guys in business, is you cannot have just one single goal. You got to have numerous goals that lead up to that. So if you come up short in the game, there's some other accomplishments that you had and that you achieved. And we had a chance to do that. You always learn that what can help the next team or your next experience when you get in that situation in the game, like versus Florida and such a flow games or tight games. And we, as a coach and being in this a long time, I learned a lot from that last season, doing conference and the bowl game.
Well, Coach, I'm going to tell you this personally. And watching your team on the sidelines in Birmingham and watching you all interact with your guys in a tough game, it made me a better person, Coach, because it showed me even under the pressure of a big bowl game, you remained who you were, and so did your staff. Your guys were not going off cussing all crazy. The coach wasn't cussing the players out. You all remained calm. Even though negative things happened, you all stayed positive, kept a positive vibe. And John will tell you this. Since that game, I've came back a changed person that I don't let things get me down. I'll stay even keep it positive. So I want to thank you and your staff for teaching me that, Coach. You probably know it, but I'm telling you that you guys helped me in my career that day watching you guys put it down on that sideline in Birmingham.
Well, I tell you, when I talked to you about as a leader and my mentor, John Beckler, really instilled this in me and my dad. It's called a command influence. If you're the leader of the group, on your business, the troops will go as you go. If you're a hard worker, the troops will be a hard worker. If you show respect, they show respect. If you always you think selfless and being unselfish and forget about yourself, and they see you do that, because well done is better than well said. Don't talk about it, but do it. And that's what we try to instill. And it starts with I got to show it first, and then the coaches, and then each year there's a group of leaders that you base it around, and it's a core group. And each year, JR, and you guys, it's grown each year. First year was a handful, maybe next year was a hand and a half. Third year was 2 hands. Next year it became bigger, and his last year was even bigger. And that's made up of freshman leaders, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And every one of those guys that are chosen leaders, not everyone is chosen, but it's maybe 16 to 18, 22 guys. They all understand the command influence, and we teach it to them and talk to them about it, how to conduct themselves and figure it and in tough times. So triumph in disasters, making sure you keep people even kill mind, and it shows strength. And that doesn't mean you're not hurting, and you don't care. It just means it's class. We call it PIP, Pirates in Public. Represent the Eastern Line University and the alumni and Pirate Nation with the first class attitude and how we carry ourselves. Make people look at us and say, okay, that's what hard work gets you. Okay, that's what being a team first gets you. Oh, okay, that's what no egos gets you. That's the kind of thing. That's what playing as one. Because we want players who make a team great more than a great player. If we've got a great player, he's about to make a team great, he's welcome here. But we look for players who want to make the team great, off the field, classroom, and on the field. So I appreciate you noticing that, JR. I didn't even think about it because we sort of expect it from them, but you've seen and y'all seen a lot of games, a lot of teams react, and I'm proud of the way we see it.
And Coach, I have not really often thought about it until this conversation was brought up. And, if you think about it, the guys that have success on the highest levels, both collegiately and professionally, they're the guys that are on the sideline in control, and they don't react to the negative stuff in a negative way. You see some of the coaches out there that, and not to be disparaging, I'm not going to use anyone's name, but they run around with their hair on fire, and it just doesn't seem to work because that transcends into your players, and your players get that panic sense, and then the next thing you know, it steamrolls in a negative way. So I've really always been a fan of the way that coaches like yourself operate on the sideline. And if you could maybe just expand on how you get into that mode on game day. Is it a mindset that you continually have throughout your life, or is that a game day thing?
It's been molded through 30 years. A great question, you guys, both of you. But during the week, we talk before the season. We practice, and then at night we have a teaching session. It could be a situation in the game. It could be the philosophy we want, the process we want, all those things. But we talk about having a vision, and that's the long-term vision. We want to win all our games, of course. We want to win the championship. Those are long-term visions. Then we back it up to immediate, mid goals, and that's to make sure we meet these type items, the conference, those things. And then we bring it back to the day. It's a day-to-day basis thought process, and we don't worry back in the season because it's so tough. The only thing it's about controllables and uncontrollables. And we can control it today. We can't control yesterday, it's history. We can't control tomorrow, it's a mystery. But we can all of us control today. So our thought process begins the week like that bowl game or any game. It's on Saturday, let's say. That Sunday night, we begin that thought process. Let's have a great Sunday night practice. Monday is off for us, so let's have a great day in classroom. You guys come by and we kind of watch them. And then Tuesday begins the first work day, so the heavy work day. So we begin, let's have a great Tuesday. And not just a great Tuesday. The game is Saturday. We worry about later on. But let's have a great Tuesday. Not just a great Tuesday. Let's have a rep, every rep today in practice. And if you have a great rep, good. Play next play. So try to have as many positive champ rep plays as you can in a row and expand that. And then in the day, if everybody does, we'll have a great day. Then Wednesday, forget that. And each day, I'm like that. So by the game time, the yelling at game time is really, it falls on ears. I think it's better to teach at game time. Doesn't mean I don't get fired up or anything. We have to express some things, but I view the game as being more of a teaching kind of teach because it's action packed on the sideline. You don't have much time. You don't have much, and the kids that you have, they want to win. They're trying to do the best, So the coach, I got great staff to teach them at that point in time and talk to them, not at them, because at that point in time, you got the kind of kids you want. We've got that here. They want you to teach them. They want you to teach them. They have a coach attitude, and that's been built and big up with, and that helps me because again, the command influence. But I don't think about it. And now on Saturday, and then we have a routine. Friday, we'll get to the place. We're big video guys, and we break it down. Saturday's not important yet. We know what's coming. Then that Saturday routine. So by that time, we've got all the work in and thought process in. And now it's time to go lace them up and play.
I hear that, Coach. And folks, we are joined by the East Carolina Pirates head football coach from me on the Bossman Show, Coach Ruff. I think me and John are one of Coach's sons now. It's Coach calling players his son. I think we are one of Coach's sons too. Both of us are. So
come on. I think you and John right now. Send me 75. I'll take care of them. I will. I'll be daddy to them. I'm daddy when they come up here. The coaches are the uncles. Miss Erlene is their mama. She'll be their mom. And that's how we do it. And that's the biggest thing I like about coaching is the environment. And JR, and the environment that I feel most comfortable is a family type environment. Does that mean no discipline? No, just the opposite. It means more discipline. But it's kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And once they find out how much you care, then they'll care how much you know. And that's for anything and any business or profession. So I love our kids here. I absolutely adore them. I'm obsessed with them being great men, guys. I'm obsessed with that first. And I'm obsessed with them getting a degree and having that power of having a degree in their hand. And thirdly, Let us have the best athletic experience they possibly can in their lives, because they're going to make friends that will last 30 and 40 years into their life. Oh, yeah, let's win a bunch of ball games.
Yes, indeed. And Coach, let's take it to the field for you, Coach. Throughout spring practice and the offseason workouts, what guys have stepped up in the place of your quarterback, Shane Carden, and guys like Justin Hardy who moved on to the NFL? Who are some guys that you want to let us know that have showed you, like, I'm ready to step up and be what these guys were to the Pirates program going forward?
Yeah. And Shane and Justin, those guys, the Shine Roll, they set the mold and blueprint what we have here as far as leading them in front. Once the leading in front and being a command influence within the team. And those guys set. But when I went in that room after we could, and the first time looking in that room, those guys, and I heard it. They were looking forward to them because they worked other guys to it. You learn by that. You know, I don't participate as well. So a lot of kids got support. We get one, a lot of interest, and you know, we got some guys, Cody Keith, Kirk Benkert, Blake Kemp, John Jacobs guys in camp right now. Those guys are really good players, and they fit our system, understand it. Kirk and Cody have been in the long with this. Blake joined us last year. Offensive line, where our strength lies are we up front. We have a Sidney Latin offensive line. You know, Ike Harris, J.T. Boyd. You know, those guys do a great job for us, and looking for that group to be a strong source for us up there. Excuse me again. Our receiving core, because of the development and great development we have in our offseason, guys are. I feel you'll hear about Bryce Williams, the John Mackey candidate. Isaiah Jones also is one of the top candidates and one of our leaders, and Trayvon Brown, Davon Grayson, Jimmy Williams. Those guys are ready to go and sitting on ready, waiting on go. Chris Harrison at running back. Defensively, we're led by Zeke Baker, inside linebacker. Outside is Monteith Overton. Those two guys are up for, again, national awards as well. Up front, we're looking for Jonathan White, Demetri McGill, Fred Presley. Those guys up front to set the tone for us there. And on the back end, Terrell Richards has been there. Trayvon Simmons, those guys have been standing out for us in the spring. So we've got some guys ready to go. Worth ready to be our punter. He'll be one of the best around, I think. But they're still improving. We divide the year into phases. Phase 1 is winter edition. Phase 2 is spring ball down in JR. Phase 3 is summer. Right now, phase 4 begins August 5th when they report, and then the next phase is season on September 5th.
Right, and Coach, you know, just to get a little bit of insight from you on the conference itself, for those who may not be familiar with the ACC outside of your team, what are some of the other teams in the conference that the fans should keep an eye out for as the season approaches?
Well, from top to bottom, this is one of the most competitive conferences I've coached in and been a part of. Of course, Central Florida is always going to be one with Coach Leary. I know he's down there. Tommy Tuttlefield at Cincinnati. Those guys done a great job. Justin over at Memphis has done a great job. You can go down Bobby Diaco, Connecticut. We got some new guys, 3 guys that joined us at Houston, SMU, and Tulsa that I've known them for a long time. Great coaches. CJ down at Tulane, just really good. A whole host of all. Matt Rule at Temple. Those guys are really good football coaches, have staffs, and each week you better have your A game on from a management standpoint as a coach, and your players better have the big boy pads on from the playing part of view, because it's going to be a week-to-week game. You're going to face a really well-coached team and a very talented football team.
And, Coach, we mentioned Shane and Justin earlier. Justin's playing right here in my backyard with the Falcons here, and Shane's battling for a spot with the Bears. How do you see them doing on the next level with their respective teams? And do you feel like those guys have long careers in the NFL based on seeing them every day for the last few years of their career at East Carolina?
No doubt. I know Justin. I know Matt. Matty likes him. Matt Ryan likes him down in Atlanta. And I know he fits right there. I know Julio and Ryan took care of him once he got down there. But Justin's a team guy. He'll work every day like he's going to lose his job. And he did that here for 5 years. One Jane is a leader and a football player, checks all the boxes, both of them. Graduated early, those guys, and never had one problem, never late to a class, anything. They'll work. And the moment Shane gets in the game, remember this, I told you this, if he doesn't get in the game, he won't come out. They'll never take him out. He's that type of guy. Krishawn Rose, that Minnesota Vikings defensive lineman. Terry Williams also, I know, from the Chicago Bears. He's an Atlanta native too. He's right there around there. And Cam Worthy is at the Ravens. receiver that we have too. You saw him in the bowl game, JR. But those guys are still in camps, and I think all those guys can make any roster better. The last 4 to 5 years, just for a fact, facts, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's Jay-Z.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so like the last 4 to 5 Super Bowl champions had an East Carolina Power team. I'm just saying.
Pirate power, the pirate karma is what we see here in the NFL.
Yeah, but I look forward to those guys. Those guys are big guys that will come back and visit the program and contribute to our university monetarily as well as with their presence, and they'll represent East Carolina in a fine fashion. I have no doubt.
And Coach, one of the things I wanted to circle back to a little bit was your philosophy. And, it kind of dovetails off what we're talking about with professional sports. When I played sports, specifically, I played golf at a very high level competitively. I used what I call the power of positive visualization. And that meaning by I had to visualize in a positive way what I was going to do for the day on each and every shot, through the course of the round, what I was going to do in the face of adversity. Is that something that you have come across? Is that something that you utilize and try to instill in your players, is to visualize what you're going to do on a certain play, on a certain game, and have that positive confidence in your body?
You remember what I talked about? We have one thing within the theme is playing the next play. You play each play, and it begins in practice. You remember we talking about having champ reps, instead of rep in practice is like a game to me and to them now. They believe that. And just like in golf, each shot is different. So each play is different and new. You hit a great shot in golf, you got to hit another one. Guys, you're still about a 5-iron out, and then you got to get up. And then the same thing with us. We talk about making sure we do our best each play and play the history of that play the best you can, and then put it behind you, and then go to the next play. We talk about that and seeing yourself doing a great job on your technique, fundamentally, footwork, assignment, responsibility, discipline, those things. And then when it gets close to the game, even before, we say, see yourself doing the best you can and making plays. Remember, make plays. There's big plays in the game and long plays in the game, but make plays. Make plays. And the team that has the highest pile of plays made, you got a good chance to win a football game.
And that's it. You got it from the coach himself, Coach Ruff on the Bossman Show. Coach Ruff, for having me and John, we got to tell you, we truly enjoyed this visit as always. We really enjoyed this visit with you, Coach, because you really just gave us insight like no other. And we're so happy to kick off our college football coverage with you. We wanted to be you, and we're glad we did it with you, Coach. And we will be doing it again more this season, keeping an eye on the Pirates and getting the people of Atlanta to become Pirate Nation as well as Bulldog Nation, but Pirate Nation here in the ATO. Hopefully me and John can make that happen for you and the East Carolina Pirates.
Hey, I tell you, for you and John, I don't know if you had, but this is my first interview on the water. I'm being driven by Mark Henley, my teacher, mentor. This day, I'm learning how to operate a 35-foot Chris craft out here on the Pamlico River. Mikada's Marina. You guys are traveling down, stopping Mikada's Market. It's great. His staff's been so great to me. So, Jaron and John, I'm talking y'all on the water, bro.
Hey, listen, the closest I've ever done an interview on the water, I did one with JR from the bathtub one time. That's as close as I got, Coach.
Well, this is a big bathtub here. It's big. I appreciate you guys bringing us to Atlanta, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the season like always.
Yes, indeed, Coach. Hey, Coach, we step from that water and send us some pictures of you on the water. We'd love to post them on the website.
I'll do it. I'll send you something.
All right, Coach. Thank you as always.
All right. Take care now. Have a good one, brother. Love y'all.
Thank you, Coach. Love you too now. That was the coach of the East Carolina Pirates, Ruffin McNeill, the Bossman Show. Follow him on Twitter, Coach Ruffin McNeill. Follow the East Carolina Pirates, people, Pirate Nation, Bossman Show. We love the Pirates. They love us. Support them. We'll be back with Joel Corry after the break. For all your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Fantasy football season is fast approaching, and if you're looking for an edge this season, you need to contact the guys at Draft Day Consultants. The concept is a simple one. Draft Day Consultants takes your requests and connects you with one of their trusted analysts, who then guide you through your draft. Whether you just need a sounding board on decisions, or if you need them to conduct your entire draft, Draft Day Consultants has you covered. Every one of their consultants has a proven track record of success and have conducted hundreds, even thousands of mock drafts. Thanks to this year-round research and analysis, the guys at DDC have an unmatched understanding of player values. So gain an edge on your league mates this season by hitting up draftdayconsultants.com. That's www.draftdayconsultants.com. Now get after it, fantasy footballers.
Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh. Family Grind ENT. Believe in it. Get it. To the Bossman Show with John Beckler. This is joined by the East Carolina Pirates football coach Ruffin McNeill on a boat in the water, calling us from the boat. So we're thankful he joined the show. And then we're joined by former sports agent, works for National Football Post and CBSSports.com. Post stories there. The one and only Mr. Joel Corry on the show. Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Got a love to have you on the show because I've been a fan of your work on CBSSports.com and the Football Post. And I told John, well, I have to get you on the show because you tell it like it is. You break it down like no other. And you used to represent a guy I used to love in Shaq before he left my Magic. Now I got to ask you, were you the one that had him leave the Magic? That was my guy back in the day.
No, that was the Magic who had him leave the Magic, because that could be a textbook case of how not to sign your franchise player, because they did everything you could possibly do wrong in that negotiation.
I believe it, man. You know what? That broke my heart as a kid, man. You know, I was a Orlando Magic. I went to the Magic, like when they wanted to get them to come to Orlando, I was going to the rallies, man. So I was a young guy in. So, you know, the Magic is my heart. You know, Shaq left was like, oh Lord. Then Dwight Howard left, then Penny Hardaway left. So like every Magic player who was a star left the team after Shaq left, you know. So the Magic still struggling. Hopefully we'll come back up one of these days, but hey, but you know, hey man, you know, we'll be back one day. Hopefully we'll keep a star in Orlando.
Hey, well, anything's possible because the Clippers are no longer the laughing stock of the NBA.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you're right about that. We'll get to that. I got the question for you on that at the end of the interview. I'll tell you, I got to ask you about that. But I got to start you off with JPP, man, his unfortunate incident. Going forward, from your point of view being an agent, what would be the best way for JPP and the Giants to come to a happy medium so they both would benefit from this 1 year? And actually, how much money did he actually lose by losing his digit the way he did on July 4th?
Well, it remains to be seen how much he really lost, because there was the report that the Giants pulled a $60 million offer. He's lost nothing because that was an offer with 10 fingers he was never going to accept. The years weren't specified with the offer, but the presumption is that it would be a 5-year offer. All he'd have to do
after playing on his franchise tag for $14.8 million, is basically sign a 4-year deal averaging $11.3 million just to break even. Before the accident, I'm positive that he was looking for a long-term deal north of Robert Quinn's deal, which averages $14.25 million with over $40 million guarantees.
Well, and I'm interested to know, after these fireworks mishaps we saw with Pierre-Paul, C.J. Wilson, with these combined 3 fingers that they lost, do you feel like there'll be specific verbiage put in contracts regarding fireworks, or do you think it's something that falls under another umbrella? And have you seen any other, what are some of the weird, verbiage things that you've seen put into contracts as your years in the business?
Well, paragraph 3 of the player contract covers that area. It's vague, though. It covers dangerous activities, but doesn't specify dangerous activities. If a team wants to, in the addendums of the contract, they may further identify what are dangerous activities, whereas the standard NBA contract specifies specific activities in their paragraph 12. It says like hang gliding, motorcycle riding. It has a laundry list of things you can't do, which are considered dangerous activities, whereas the NFL contract doesn't. But common sense should kind of tell you that at any time, particularly in a contract year when you're an unsigned franchise player, knowing that firework mishaps happen every year, stay away from stuff like that.
Exactly. It just baffled me that 2 guys lost 3 fingers over fireworks. Like me personally, when I hear fireworks, I'm always ducking and like I'm thinking it's like a gunshot. This is my natural reaction, like the duck when I hear it. But like can't you pay some flunky to do this for you, to blow them up for you? Why are you doing it yourself? And when your career is made with your hands for the most part, and and it's like, to me, it's just mind-boggling that these guys do this. I mean, the guys want to tempt fate, that they believe that they're invincible, or what is it that makes these guys like get on bikes or go hang gliding or do zip lining when they know that if they get hurt, they'll be on the NFI list or they won't get paid at all. So what makes the guys do this stuff, Joel?
Well, part of it is they think they're invincible, and 2, that they don't really think about the consequences of their actions. And I'll say this, that Jason Pierre-Paul isn't the first person to exercise questionable or poor judgment, won't be the last. There was a guy, I guess February, March, maybe it was April when he did it, who exercised very poor judgment as well, Tom Brady, when I think he was in Brazil with his wife and jumped off of that cliff. That's a dangerous activity. And things could have gone wrong. In his case, if something goes wrong, Tom Brady would have lost his life, but that was kind of swept under the rug. Nobody really talked about how Tom Brady engaged in some reckless behavior in that instance.
You're right about that. And I'm going to switch it up on you a little bit here, Joel. There's a report that the NFLPA is going to look into collusion between the Cowboys and the Broncos when it comes to Dez Bryant and Demaryius Thomas. Dez Bryant puts out a tweet saying that he will hold out and won't show up unless the Cowboys give him a long-term deal by the franchise tag deadline of the 15th of July. Now, for both of these guys, will it be a fair deal for them both, or is Calvin Johnson's deal so mega and Larry Fitzgerald's deal in the past so major that kind of made the market, overinflated the market per se? So what's going to happen with these 2 guys? Will it eventually be their fair contract extension deals?
Well, first of all, the old Larry Fitzgerald deal, I should say, has been renegotiated downward this past February. And Calvin Johnson's deal were basically the same, $16 million per year, roughly $45-50 million guarantees. Those deals are considered as anomalies in the marketplace because Larry Fitzgerald's deal was set up by his rookie deal for being a top 3 pick, and then his subsequent veteran deals gave him the leverage to get that deal. Calvin Johnson, if the Lions had not done the contract extension, would not have been able to franchise him because his franchise tag number would have been $25 million. That gave him extreme leverage. These guys don't have that type of leverage. The problem is between Calvin Johnson's deal and the next highest paid receiver is a big gulf. That's now Mike Wallace at $12 million a year and $30 million guarantees. If these guys want to get a deal done, it won't be in that neighborhood, Calvin Johnson. If they wanted to get something in the $14 million per year neighborhood, in the high 30s in guarantees, approaching maybe $40 million in guarantees, that could be a possibility. But neither one of those guys so far has softened their negotiating stance.
Who do you think blinks first in these situations?
I think if there's a deal to be done out of either one of those two guys, it'll be Denver with Demaryius Thomas, because they have a history of getting franchise tag players signed at the last minute. That happened with Ryan Clady 2 years ago, and Matt Prater the year prior to that was franchise. They got deals done as the July 15 long-term deadline for multi-year deals with franchise players was imminent. With Dez Bryant, I'll believe it when I see it, that he'll follow through on his threat to miss games, because he hasn't set up his threat to be credible. Why would anyone think you were going to miss any minute at training camp, let alone games, if you can't stay away from the off-season workout program popping up periodically? You are constantly at the facility. You come on the last day of mini camp at the coach's request. If you're trying to sell that you're that upset that you're not going to show up, then you do like Justin Houston, Demaryius Thomas. You don't set foot anywhere near Dallas Cowboys facilities. Maybe you talk to people over the phone, but I wouldn't believe that Dez Bryant's going to miss anything based on his behavior, notwithstanding his tweet today that he's serious about missing time without a long-term deal. He hasn't set the threat up credibly or done it in enough time where I think it will be effective.
Well, Joe, one thing that is serious is this Greg Hardy situation. You know, if you were you, would you push him to take his appeal to court to get that suspension down to 2 games, or would you just be glad it was taken from 10 games down to 4 games?
Well, one thing I'd never really understood from the NFL's position is that missing games is not considered punishment. I know that everyone hastily put Adrian Peterson and Greg Hardy on the exempt list because no one really knew what to do and they were paid. You could alleviate that if you wanted to and fine them a certain amount of their paychecks from last year. And then you would be able to technically at least call what they missed games punishment. Now, the problem was that we saw in the Ray Rice case that you can't go ahead and apply a new standard of conduct in the personal conduct policy to behavior which predated the new standards. So I understand why Greg Hardy would want to further appeal, go through the legal system for his reduction to 4 games, because the previous standard course of action had been 2 games. So in his mind, I could see him thinking, I've been suspended 2 games too many. It remains to be seen whether he just cuts his losses at the 4 games or decides to take even further action where he goes to the court system, potentially gets an injunction where he can play until everything is finally sorted out.
And Joe, how does the Greg Hardy ruling affect Tom Brady? Because if he went from 10 to 4, does Brady go from 4 to 2 or maybe to 1?
No, well, they're 2 totally different things, because the NFL is on solid ground. If they justify a 4-game penalty for Brady and a reduction to 4 games from Hardy from the standpoint that part of Brady's penalty is for his lack of cooperation, and if they're going, they just stick to that and don't get into anything else, then they're on a better ground. Granted, the general public is going to equate domestic violence, 4 games, and tampering with footballs, if he even did that, alleged tampering, I should say, or people on his behalf may have done that. At 4 games, they're going to look at that as the penalties don't fit the crimes in either case. But if the NFL sticks to a major part of his punishment is his lack of cooperation, then that's a rationale they can use for what would be equivalent punishments.
And Joel, I'm curious to get your opinion on the NFL, specifically the commissioner, and some of these fines, suspensions. They really seem reactionary. Some of them don't seem equitable. And at some points over the course of the past few years, having spoken with men like yourself within the business, it just seems like people don't have a huge amount of confidence or respect for the commissioner's office just based on some of the things that they've done. And I'm curious to get your opinion on it and kind of see where you come out on the whole thing.
Well, Goodell's never been popular ever since he became commissioner, because one of the first things he did was this whole concept of protecting the shield and started punishing players in a manner that Paul Tagliabue never did. So he's gotten a little more lenient over time, because it used to be punish first, ask questions later. Then he decided to let the legal process play out, but there hasn't been any consistency generally with punishments in recent years. Now, I've jokingly said that the next time someone needs to be disciplined during the season, what they should do during the Sunday telecast is put up 4 options for people to text in what they think the punishment is. And then the league can test the waters of public opinion, whichever one the public thinks is most deserving. That can be their punishment. That seems to be how they punish people, is they go with the court of public opinion and factor that in to whatever disciplinary actions they're going to take, as opposed to actually having some rational, principled types of punishment. Since the Ray Rice mistake, he seems to be going overboard, over-punishing, and it seems like every time someone appeals, it either gets reduced, or through the court system, if they take it that route, it gets reduced and overturned as well.
He can't win for losing, Joel. That's what it looks like to me. He can't win for losing.
Well, I think the one thing we've learned is Roger Goodell has no idea what should be considered an appropriate punishment, and the NFLPA should have fought harder for him not to be judge, jury, and executioner during the lockout, because he's not going to voluntarily give up that power, even though he seems to be incompetent when it comes to doling out punishments.
I totally agree with you. And folks, we're joined by Joel Corry, National Football Post, and CBSSports.com. And I got to ask you about another contract that's been on my mind, the Russell Wilson contract. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback, more than Aaron Rodgers. And do you see him and the Seahawks getting a deal done? Because he goes to the franchise tag. There's a team that might give up 2 first-round picks to get Russell Wilson as their quarterback. And on his deal, what would be the metrics they would use to make both sides happy for get him the most money he wants, and the team stays in their 4-year deal, thing how I like to do their contracts, like I was reading your article. So what do you see them doing with them on both sides to make this work for both parties?
Well, there's one thing we know historically, we've seen over time. The longer a team waits to pay a Pro Bowl caliber player, provided he stays healthy, it's going to cost the team more in the long run. So it is in Seattle's best interest to pay him now. The problem is that the defense is so strong, the running game is strong, that there's a legitimate argument to be made that he is 3 at best in terms of makes the team go. But at the same time, you don't necessarily have to be a quarterback that carries an offense to be named to be the highest paid player in the league. We've seen that in the past. Eli Manning, arguably a top 10 quarterback in 2009, had won 1 Super Bowl when the Giants made him the highest paid player. Had a pretty strong defense and a pretty good running game. Joe Flacco had 1 hot playoff run, just a slightly above average quarterback in regular seasons, was briefly made the highest paid player. So Russell Wilson asking to be the highest paid player isn't an outlandish concept or proposition.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that front, Joel. I'm curious to know if you
foresee any of the guys that have been tagged with this franchise tag currently getting a long-term deal done before the 15th deadline?
I think Dez is the least likely one out of it. And there's one that we haven't talked about and no one thinks about that's actually signed his franchise tag, Steven Gutowski, the kicker for New England. He may just be fine playing on his one-year deal, but I just thought I'd mention the kicker. I think Demarius is most likely to get his done. Kansas City needs to get something done with Justin Houston. He's been disgruntled for over a year. He missed all of off-season stuff last year, showed up to training camp for one reason. If he had held out and didn't show up 30 days prior to the start of the regular season, he wouldn't have gotten a year service towards free agency and would have been a restricted free agent. He went out and had his monster year, couldn't ask him to do anything more than he did. That's a guy that should be paid like the best defensive players in the league. I would hope that Kansas City, when push comes to shove, thinks outside of him just being a linebacker, pays him like a top defensive player, and gets that thing done in the $16 million per year, $50 million in guarantees neighborhood.
And Joe, I have to ask you about this. This is a topic of the show last week, and you've been a former agent. This is a perfect topic to ask you about the DeAndre Jordan saga from last week. What are your thoughts on that whole situation from start to finish? And how often do things like that actually happen behind the scenes that we don't hear about it in the public eye, in the media? And what's the protocol typically when a guy commits to a team or they want to change their mind? Can the other team talk to them or usually kind of let them go? So how does it all work in the agent and team world with DeAndre Jordan and Mark Cuban for those who don't know about that now?
Well, we actually saw something like this play out football-wise during that 3-day negotiating window prior to free agency. It was leaked that Frank Gore was going to be a Philadelphia Eagle, but he's now playing for the Indianapolis Colts. It may have worked out better for Philadelphia in the long run by ending up with DeMarco Murray. If in basketball, what DeAndre Jordan did was within the letter of the law because of the 10-day signing moratorium, but violated the spirit of the rules, because it's customary that when you agree verbally to a contract, you don't change your mind. And the fact that this thing kind of dragged on, it really put Dallas between a rock and a hard place, because all these other people had agreed to deals and they are adhering to them. And there's really no other person they could get in free agency that would really improve their team like DeAndre did. So maybe they don't go out and sign or agree to terms of Wes Matthews if DeAndre decides initially to stay with the Clippers. I would hope that the NBA and the Players Association are going to look at shortening the moratorium so you don't have a situation like this occur again. Because who's to say that in the future a team's going to agree to something with a player and then there's some sort of change in circumstance that benefits them and they renege on what was agreed. I think the one thing DeAndre really needed to do, given the situation, was call Mark Cuban directly and tell him I had a change of heart. You don't tweet it. I don't know if he directed his mother to call Mark Cuban or his mother called Mark Cuban on her own accord, but your mother shouldn't be talking to Mark Cuban, explaining anything. You're not a 17-year-old kid making a decision to go to college where you switch what school you're going to take a scholarship from. You're a 26, 25-year-old man. Make a phone call. Tell him personally you changed your mind. Customarily, what you see if there's some sort of change of heart would be the agent making the call. But this is really such a unique circumstance. DeAndre needed to talk personally to Mark Cuban.
Joel, I'm interested to know, based on the story that I saw about the Buffalo Bills offensive line coach, Aaron Cromer, arrested early Sunday morning in Florida, misdemeanor battery charge. Allegedly, he punched a boy in the face with some altercation on the beach. I'm curious to know, when you have situations like this with your clients, do you what is your reaction? Like your first instinctive reaction? Are you just like face, hands on top of your head, like, oh my God, what are you doing? Or do you immediately go into damage control? What do you do in those situations as an agent?
Well, your first inclination, you don't say it to the client because it's not productive, is you're thinking, WTF. And then you immediately go into damage control or figure out how you can minimize whatever consequences, which is a whole lot harder to do nowadays as opposed to 15 years ago with the TMZs of the world, social media, camera, cell phones. You can't be as proactive as you used to be because everybody knows about everything. So you can't contain something and potentially keep it from becoming public like you could 15 years ago. But you're just trying to make the most of a bad situation. With this coach, I expect him to get fired. I don't expect him to get hired by anyone else anytime soon. I'm surprised he got a job because he was the leak in Chicago. Was talking last year when all this information came out about Jay Cutler and personal relationships with the Bears. So this is another strike against him. He is now subject to the personal conduct policy through his actions. So I think this guy, if he's going to be coaching long term, he may have to go the college route.
I think so. And Joe, we want to thank you for your time today. I know we went longer than usual, but you were so good, we didn't want to let you go, and we're so thankful for your time today on the show. Look forward to having you on with us more throughout this season and down and in the future.
Oh, I appreciate you having me.
You're welcome, Joe. And that was Joe Corry, National Football Post, and CBSSports.com. Check his work out. There, it's great. You'll enjoy it. All your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, a Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Fantasy football season is fast approaching, and if you're looking for an edge this season, you need to contact the guys at Draft Day Consultants. The concept is a simple one. Draft Day Consultants takes your requests and connects you with one of their trusted analysts, who then guide you through your draft. Whether you just need a sounding board on decisions, or if you need them to conduct your entire draft, Draft Day Consultants has you covered. Every one of their consultants has a proven track record of success and have conducted hundreds, even thousands of mock drafts. Thanks to this year-round research and analysis, the guys at DDC have an unmatched understanding of player values. So gain an edge on your league mates this season by hitting up draftdayconsultants.com. That's www.draftdayconsultants.com. Now get after it, fantasy footballers.
Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today, True Speech and 313 Fresh, Family Grind ENT. Believe in it, get it. welcome back to the Bossman Show with John Beckler. It's the JR the Bossman here with you. And I'm joined by a guy from ProBasketballTalk.com, posting stories for you on the Sports Talk app if you have that. That's what I have on my iPhone. My man Sean Highkin on the Bossman Show. Sean, how you doing, brother?
I'm all right. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Just happy free agency is going on and happy to see what's going on with the NBA, man. I got to talk to you about the big story in the NBA. DeAndre Jordan and Mark Cuban. Have you ever seen something play out like that as we saw with those two guys? And the emoji battles, the keeping them in the house, and then Cuban going on his app and calling out Jordan for being a liar and taking him to task and processing he's not ready for the big time. So you've seen a soap opera this great in the NBA since the Lakers and the Bulls of the 90s and the 2000s.
It was pretty unprecedented. And I mean, there have been other times when guys have changed their mind. I remember a few years ago, Hito Turkoglu had an agreement with the Blazers. And then at the last minute, I think his wife decided that she would rather live in Toronto than Portland. And so he ended up signing with the Raptors instead. But yeah, just when you put everything together, the emoji battle, the reporting out, had the hostage crisis and all this stuff. And like, then Blake Griffin was having a little bit of fun with that with like a Google image of a chair on a door, to try to make it like to just try to have fun with it. And then of course, like the way, Mark Cuban has responded to it, there's really never been anything like that in the NBA.
And my point about Mark Cuban is this. When you cut a player, do you call him and tell him you're going to cut him? You don't. You call his agent. So I don't think DeAndre Jordan actually owed him a phone call. It was, to me, it would have been like maybe a good courtesy, yes, but when you cut somebody, you don't call them personally that you cut them. So what you feel about, did DeAndre actually owe him a phone call, or Mark Cuban's a little bit butthurt, so hey, now I'm going to be mad about this, and then when I do it the other way, I don't get mad about it.
Right. I mean, I agree that, if you're in this situation, usually if it's bad news, you want to have your agent call you. I think that's kind of the point of having an agent, is that you don't have to make those kinds of uncomfortable phone calls yourself. Yeah, I guess it would have been nice if DeAndre had called Cuban by himself, but I mean, I don't think you can say he owes him anything. They didn't agree on anything. I mean, they agreed on a contract, but they didn't actually sign anything. So DeAndre had every right to change his mind.
Exactly, and for the league moratorium to come on the fire, this is my point about this, Sean, is this. Hey, the moratorium says you can talk with each other, but you can't really agree to a contract. So he wasn't bound to the Mavericks. So if you change the moratorium period, you're saying theoretically you can agree to a deal, and you got to go by it during the moratorium period, which is really supposed to agree to a deal. So you actually seeing the owners after this change the moratorium period to make it shorter maybe, or make it where the verbal agreements have to stand in impact. So you see it changing or you think we'll just be staying the way it is once this blows over and Cuban gets off his warpath right now?
Well, a couple of days ago, they had the Board of Governors meeting, and Adam Silver actually came out and said that nobody really has a solution for how to change it in a way that would prevent this stuff from happening. The reason they have the moratorium period is because it takes them about a week to actually run all the numbers on how much money the league made and actually set what the salary cap is. So when the players and the teams are talking about a deal during the moratorium period, they don't know exactly how much salary cap space they have until you see what the cap is. I think this year it was originally projected to be $67 million, and then there were some rumblings that it might be $69 million. And then when the actual official numbers came out, they turned out to have $70 million for the salary cap. So some teams actually had a little bit more space than maybe they thought they would originally when they were negotiating these deals. So, they need to have the moratorium period for that reason, to have time to actually figure out what that stuff is. But yeah, I mean, technically, according to the letter of the law, you're not allowed to agree to a deal during the moratorium period. The other thing I would say that would, maybe think, Mark Cuban has a little bit less room to complain is that if you read that ESPN report about kind of how this whole thing happened, DeAndre Jordan was talking to Chandler Parsons for several days before the free agency even began. And technically you're not to a fellow player, but it certainly looked like, there was some stuff that if you wanted to make the case that it was tampering, you could say that. So it's not like the Mavericks are just completely blindsided by this, or that they don't play this game. Also, this is just kind of how a game works. Yeah,
that to me, Parsons talking to DeAndre Jordan is kind of like indirect tampering, if you ask me, because Cuban told him to do it. He's working on the orders of Mark Cuban and Donnie Nelson and Rick Carlisle. I don't care what anybody says. They have a plan. Chandler, get on him right now. So
Yeah.
So you're kind of even. You can't be too mad, Mark, because your illegal tampering would have got you DeAndre, you would have been happy. So it's like you kind of pick your poison whether you're pissed or you're not, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those things, like, everybody has stuff like this that happens. There's some things that people think is unfair. That's just kind of how the game is, though. And I think these owners, you guys are all made a lot of money owning businesses. They know kind of how this stuff works. Not everybody always honors verbal agreements. This stuff is just kind of, and I think DeAndre maybe could have handled it a little bit better, but it also, this whole thing, like, he was well within his rights to do this. And I understand why Mavs fans are mad because they thought they were getting DeAndre Jordan and now they're not. But, and they certainly have every right to be mad, but it's also just, it's just one of those things that happens. I don't think I don't think they need to make a complete change to the rule or anything like that just because of one thing that happened.
Yes, indeed. And folks, we're joined by Sean Highkin on the Bossman Show with JR here talking about the NBA. And I got to talk to you about this as well. On the court now, the Clippers have improved. Now, to be capped out, they've improved. Josh Smith, Paul Pierce, Lance Stevenson, now DeAndre's back. They have totally remade their bench already. And I think Udo's going to come back as well. So their bench could be some team starting lineups. So the Clippers have to be one of them teams that you say, with OKC, Golden State, San Antonio for the West are the top 4 contenders in the West. What do you feel about that?
Well, I absolutely agree with you. The Clippers have gotten a lot better. I really like that Josh Smith pickup for them. And in fact, this past, I think it was January when the Pistons actually cut Josh Smith, I thought at the time that was the place that made the most sense for him to go. And obviously he ended up getting more money from Houston and he fit in really well there and had a great stint there. But I think the Clippers just make a lot of sense for him because now you can run some kind of smaller lineups with him at the 4 and Blake Griffin at the 5. It gives him a lot of versatility. You can, run him with Paul Pierce. He can play with a lot of different guys. And it also just, if you think about what the Clippers' big man depth was like last year, obviously Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan are great, but they were playing, Big Baby and Hedo Turkoglu significant minutes during the playoffs. And that's just something you can't do if you want to be a title contender. So I think Josh Smith and also Paul Pierce, if they're going to start playing him at power forward the way that the Wizards did in the playoffs, I think those guys are both significant upgrades for them.
Yeah, the Clippers are a team on the rise already. Just the change of fortune like that they now are top 4 contenders in the Western Conference now. And that's going out to the Eastern Conference right here in my own backyard, the Atlanta Hawks. Paul Millsap got that big deal. There was a report out there that said Carroll said it was either him or Millsap. They chose Millsap because Millsap fits what they do better and they needed more bigs on the roster. Now, this is my question for you, Sean. Al Horford's free agent after this year. Makes $12 million this year. If Paul Millsap is worth $21 million, what's Al Horford worth for the Hawks? $25 million going forward, the new cap coming in, with all this new money coming in next year?
Yeah, don't be surprised if Al Horford gets a max deal, because if he doesn't get it from the Hawks, he'll get it from somebody else. He's still, people don't really tell, even with the year that the Hawks have had, he's still one of the most underrated big men in the league. He's one of the best centers in terms of having both ends of the floor and versatility. He's a guy that I think the Hawks understand what he means to the team, and I think they will be committed to, paying a lot of money to keep him, especially with the salary cap going up. So I think he's going to be due for a big raise. Now, as far as the Hawks in general, I like re-signing Millsap. The loss of Carroll is really going to hurt them. I don't think they're going to be obviously as good as they were last year, because it seems like that 60-win team was just kind of, especially with losing one of their starters, a one-time thing. But I really like the pickup. This hasn't really been talked about, but I really like the pickup of Justin Holiday. He seems like he's kind of where Jamari Carroll was a couple of years ago before anybody really knew who he was, and the Hawks signed him for cheap and developed him into this elite, perimeter defender. I think there's some potential for Justin Holiday to kind of be that next guy for them.
Yeah, and I like Mike Muscala too, but I wonder if he can hold up over the year, because Perry Ranteach to me was like, why are you shooting threes all the time, man? Like, I don't understand that guy. I didn't understand why he played. I was like, why this guy on the court? Play Mike Muscala, and you signed Willie Eddie Tavares, 7'3" out of Spain. Don't know what he'll be doing. Tim Hardaway Jr. kind of replace Carroll to a degree. So I think the Hawks, they didn't get better per se. I think they may have stayed the same or decreased a little bit, but they make it when the Southeast Division with the Wizards and the Hawks, the Magic. think they may win that division, but still, they've been a playoff team. You think they'll probably be a first round and out team this year with the way their roster is right now?
Possibly. I mean, it all depends on the matchups. I mean, really, the only two locks in terms of teams that could go deeper than that are Cleveland and Chicago. But if you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, it was kind of a joke last year. You had teams that were below 500 getting in. You had Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn won like 38 games or 36 games, and they've got the 8th seed. But Miami got a lot better, and they're going to have Chris Bosh back again. Washington's going to be still right there. Obviously, Cleveland and Chicago are still there. Toronto might still be there. Indiana is getting Paul George back, and I really like the Monte Ellis signing for them, giving them just another guy that can score. Then you might even see a team like, Orlando or Detroit. And then Milwaukee, they had a great year last year, and they got better with, picking up Greg Monroe. They're going to get Jabari Parker back. So, the East is going to be pretty tough. I mean, I agree with you. I think the Hawks are definitely a playoff team still. I don't know if they're going to make the conference finals again. Is what I'll say.
Yeah, and another team in our area, the Memphis Grizzlies, Sean, they still need shooting. I mean, I get, Matt Barnes, and you got, Andrew Harrison, you got the guy they drafted, Jarrell Martin, but Brandon Wright, to take place of Costa Koufis and John Lure. But where's the shooting at for the Grizzlies? This year, watching the Grizzlies play, only Mike Conley can make a three-pointer for me. And sometimes Beno Udrih and Vince Carter if he was on that night. The Grizzlies need more shooting. I think that's what they're missing, and they still have not got enough shooting, if you ask me. Are there any shooters out there that they can make sign to a one-year deal, minimum deal that can help them right now? Or they're going to pretty much be the same ground and pound with the Grizzlies. Zach and Zebo, then in the playoffs, they get double-teamed, and Mike Conley, if he's not making threes, they're screwed. So what's your feeling about the Grizzlies going forward and their need for shooting?
Yeah, but they've kind of needed shooting for a while. I don't really know who's really out there. There were certainly guys that they could have signed earlier in free agency. Someone like a Wayne Ellington who ended up going to Brooklyn. There were guys out there. I don't know really what there is on the market at this point, unless they want to take first of all, they don't have enough money for what J.R. Smith is probably going to demand, but that's kind of the only guy that's left in the market that's a shooter, and that's obviously probably versus a team with as strong of a locker room as that. That's not probably some guy you want to have in there anyway. So I don't really know what they're going to be able to do. They're just kind of back where they were. They need shooting. I think they're going to be a really strong team again this year. They re-signed Gasol. I really like the Brandon Wright pickup for them. I think they got a steal with him, but I think they still need shooting. I don't know where they're going to get it.
Yeah, unless you want to package Jeff Green or Courtney Lee for shooting. But seems like Wallace loves those two guys and don't want to trade them. But if you ask me, I would try to package one of those two to get some shooting in there because I'm sorry.
If you can get something for one of them.
I mean, because with this new money coming in, Jeff Green, $9.2 million is not that bad. Last year's deal. Courtney Lee, last year's deal, $6 million, not that bad. You can package one of them and get some shooting in there. Give them, so somebody needs to get some. Because I'm telling you, watching their game, Sean, it's always like, man, if they're not gritting and grinding and grizzing, they're not gonna win. Because somebody say Tony Allen make a shot, you're gonna lose. Vince Carter goes cold. Mike Conley goes cold. It's like, man, the 3-point ball needs to be part of your offense, because it's been proven by Golden State, you can 3-point your way and defend your way to a title. But Memphis' problem always been they can't score when it gets tight in the playoffs, and because they don't have enough shooting. And I think that if the ownership there, Para and Wallace should know that, hey, every year we fail because of lack of shooting and lack of scoring. Let's do something about it. But they never do. They can go to the same status quo, and they make a run, and they lose in 6 games in the playoffs. I don't understand it about the Grizzlies. Why don't they just say we need to do this? But they're so stuck to that Zebo and Mark way that they just don't do anything. And Sean, I don't know what to tell you to my people about it. People always ask me. I don't know. I've tried to figure it out, but I can't, man. Do you have a solution for the Grizzlies, man? I don't know.
Kind of been the moves that they've been making in the past have kind of been the types of moves that seemed like they were trying to add shooting. Courtney Lee has been a good shooter in his career, but he's kind of fallen off since he got to Memphis. Vince Carter, he's been terrific for Dallas the last few years, and then when he got to Memphis, he's still good sometimes, but he's 38, 39 at this point. Like, he's not going to be the consistent shooter every single night. And then, Jeff Green, like, they thought they could bring him in as a stretch forward, kind of a different look, but he hasn't really been that productive since he got to Memphis. So I don't know. I mean, they've been taking swings at guys that they think could help them in that, and they've just been missing. So now I don't know where they go from here. I think you're right. They probably just have to package Courtney Lee or Jeff Green or somebody to try to get a shooter, but I don't really know who's going to be out there.
Yeah, then that's the problem. I would say maybe Omar Casby, that guy maybe be a good look for him, or maybe a Brandon Rush in Golden State, maybe somebody like that they can get out who's buried on the bench, maybe. I think something needs to happen, or even Steve Novak, maybe. OKC doesn't need him anymore. Steve Novak, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are certainly guys out there you can take a look at, but none of those guys. I mean, it would be just kind of the same thing. You trade for somebody like a Steve Novak and hope that it turns out to be this great thing. He might just not be. He might just not play well enough to merit being off the end of the bench. It's all just kind of taking gambles. There's really no sure things out there for Memphis. So that's kind of the problem that they're in right now.
Exactly. And final question for you, Sean, is the Knicks and the Lakers. They swung for the fences and missed again. And like I was trying to tell one of my Knicks writers who I had on the show, was like, hey, the Knicks are not the Knicks of the past, and you can't just sell the player in here. People want to win. It's not just I want to be a Knick or a Laker. You have to show them that you can win or want to win. And the Knicks right now have been striking out, then drafting Porzingis, and he may be good in a year, in 2 years, but right now when you want to win with Carmelo Anthony in his window, you have Robin Lopez, not Brandon Wright, but Derek Williams and Aaron Aflalo. I mean, those not big names for the New York market, but the Knicks still be probably in the lottery next year. The Lakers, Kobe Bryant supported last year. All you come up with is Lou Williams and Brandon Bass and Roy Hibbert, but you have Clarkson and Russell with Nick Young, so that's a glut at the guard position in LA. So I don't know what they're doing, Sean. I'm confused. I'll try to figure it out. I can't. So I'm gonna let you, ProBasketballTalk.com, tell us, Knicks and Lakers, what is going on with these guys, man?
I actually kind of like the moves that both of these teams have made. I think they've kind of realized, in both of these teams, they can't just come out and say, hey, we're the Knicks or we're the Lakers, and then automatically just get a superstar. They kind of learned that with LaMarcus Aldridge. They learned that when they tried to meet with DeAndre Jordan, and that just wasn't happening. But so I think all the deals that they've signed, I'm not crazy about the Derek Williams deal for New York, but the other one, Robin Lopez is a good defender and rim protector and a rebounder, so they can, they got him at a pretty reasonable deal. Aaron Aflalo could be a good two-way player. He wasn't really last year with Portland, but he has been in the past. I really like the Kyle O'Quinn pickup for them. And now with the Lakers, I don't really understand the Lou Williams thing that much. I guess he's going to be a sixth man, but I don't know if that really works. But I really like the Roy Hibbert pickup for them, because I always thought, like, all along going into free agency, out of the big names, they're going to go after a big name. Obviously, LaMarcus is the biggest guy, so of course they're going to try to meet with him. But I would have tried to go after DeAndre Jordan, because I think they need a rim protector more than they need another guy who can score, because they have plenty of guys who can do that. So I really like the Roy Hibbert gamble for them, taking a 1-year gamble on him, because he's still, his offense has fallen off a cliff the last couple of years, but he's still a really strong rim protector, and he's a good defender. And I think maybe with a change of scenery, he's going to have a good year for the Lakers. So I don't think either of those teams will be particularly good, but I kind of like what they're doing just in terms of filling in the gaps.
And Sean, okay, I got one more question that came in my head. The Kings, the Sacramento Kings, that drama. George Karl, DeMarcus Cousins, that handshake at the Summer League game, Rajon Rondo, Rudy Gay, the DMC, with, all those guys, and guys like Wes Matthews want to take their money. Marcellus turning away the Kings' money. How long does Vlade Divac keep George Karl and DeMarcus Cousins on one accord? Will it ever happen with Rajon Rondo and Rudy Gay, also guys who are miracle guys, and Jason Levy, and the guy who I know from Memphis, is now Vivek Ranadiv's now advisors now. So what's going on with the Kings and this train wreck? How's this train wreck going to end? I don't know where it's going to stop on the tracks, brother. If you can tell us what you're feeling about this, because I don't know, man. I was looking forward to seeing the fireworks between these guys in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. I don't know what's going to happen with the George Karl DeMarcus Cousins thing. It seems like management is pretty committed to not trading Cousins, and there's really no rush to trade him. They've got him under contract for 3 more years on a really strong deal at a really, really good value, especially when the cap goes up. My thing is, like, if they were hiring, why would you hire George Karl if you didn't want him to have a say in the basketball operation stuff? That's what he's tried to do everywhere he's ever gone. Like, why would you hire him and then decide, oh, no, you're just gonna handle the basketball stuff. So it just seemed like a weird fit on that end. But in terms of like with Rondo and with the other guys that they picked up, they've added talent. I still don't think they're a playoff team, but they might be a little bit more. They're certainly going to be interesting with just the personalities on the team with Rondo and Cousins and Rudy Gay. With George Karl, I don't know how good they might win, like 38 games this year, but I don't know what their long-term plan is.
Now, Sean, I know out here in Atlanta it's late night, but I will watch that train wreck every night on League Pass if I have to. I promise you I will.
Yeah, it's gonna be entertaining if nothing else.
Well, Sean, I tell you what, brother, I'm a fan of your work on ProBasketballTalk.com. I love it. I want to have you on the show because I like your work. I like what you post, man. So we got to do it again real soon. Thanks for your time today. We'll look forward to having you on the show many more times, brother.
Yeah, let me know anytime.
All right. Thank you so much, man. And, folks, that was Sean Highkin at ProBasketballTalk.com. All your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service.
Fantasy football season is fast approaching, and if you're looking for an edge this season, you need to contact the guys at Draft Day Consultants. The concept is a simple one. Draft Day Consultants takes your requests and connects you with one of their trusted analysts, who then guide you through your draft. Whether you just need a sounding board on decisions, or if you need them to conduct your entire draft, Draft Day Consultants has you covered. Every one of their consultants has a proven track record of success, and have conducted hundreds, even thousands of mock drafts. Thanks to this year-round research and analysis, the guys at DDC have an unmatched understanding of player values. So gain an edge on your league mates this season by hitting up draftdayconsultants.com. That's www.draftdayconsultants.com. Now get after it, fantasy footballers.
Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Album is available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh. Family Grind ENT. Believe in it. Get it.